All right, listen up, y'all.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Things Education Official. My name is DrAbdullah, and I'm your host and educator, giving you educational news from a foundational Black American man's perspective. If you like what you're seeing, like what you're hearing, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Today, we're going to talk about how anti-Black racism is the norm at Fort Vancouver High School in Vancouver, Washington.
I spoke to students at Fort Vancouver High School who said the culture of blatant racism is pervasive. They described hearing racial slurs in the school and racist language in social media posts from students.
Racism does happen at Fort Vancouver High School, and our admin doesn't know how to handle it.
I've seen firsthand multiple instances of intentional anti-Black hate speech directed towards students that I work to uplift.
Things like this should not be acceptable.
Emotions were high at the Vancouver Public Schools Board meeting this week as students and staff from Fort Vancouver High School described racist behavior they've had to endure at school. Fatu Bojang is one of the students who testified. She says she's heard racial slurs in her classroom and has seen social media posts from her fellow students that refer to Black students as the N-word and monkeys.
I've seen on her TikTok post that she wasn't sincere about the apology. She kept going on the comments saying that it wasn't that serious. The joke wasn't about you. The N-word this, N-word that.
In another incident, a student put up posters for a club she had started to support the mental health of Black teens. The poster had a photo of her and was defaced with insults and the N-word. Parent Andrew Morgan says this was the breaking point when he decided to go to administration.
This day and age that word was being put on there as a joke, whatever the intention was, that's ridiculous. So something had to be done.
A spokesperson for Fort Vancouver High School said the superintendent has personally met with the students who spoke at the school board. The district said it's committed to make sure all students feel safe and welcome.
If we partner and we have more people looking at these difficult issues, we're going to get to a place and we're going to ensure to have an environment where students feel safe, feel valued, feel heard.
Students we spoke to hope next school year will be different.
For other people to see us cry, it's just like, do you not see how hard it hurts?
Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
All right. According to an article entitled "Shut Your Monkey Ass Up, Black Students Sob Over Racism Endured at School," Black students at a Washington high school broke down in tears as they described the racism they endured from their peers at the school board meeting per KGW. The alleged racist behavior occurred at Fort Vancouver High School. Students testified at a Vancouver Public School Board meeting last week. Racism does happen at Fort Vancouver High School, and our administration doesn't know how to handle it. Sophomore student Relicia Lewis, the president of the school's Black Student Union, said Navon Morgan, a contracted school social worker, said he witnessed firsthand multiple instances of intentional anti-Black hate speech directed towards students that I work with and work to uplift. Bojang detailed an incident where a fellow student called her a monkey and the N-word after a confrontation over social media over an offensive post. Some of the things that she said were, and I quote, "And then you guys got offended, bruh, and maybe solve it like a behavioral person and not like a monkey." Those were some of the highlights that she said, and some of her friends said, "Shut your monkey ass up, little N-word. Go jump off a effing tree and eat some D-do bananas, little B-ass N-word. And I'll F any of your homies up, so quit talking S, you B-ass monkey," Bojang said during the school board meeting. Fort Vancouver students said it was normal to hear racial slurs in the hallways and racist language on social media. In another instance, a poster for a club supporting the mental health of Black teens was defaced with racist insults, including the N-word. If we partner and we have more people looking at these difficult issues, we're going to get to a place and we're going to ensure we have an environment where students feel safe, valued, and heard. Fort Vancouver Assistant Principal Luis Castro Quintanilla said in a statement. Luis Castro Quintanilla, I would say he's probably Latino. I just have so much. It's so much to unpack in this this article and in this video, first and foremost, it just pains me and angers me to see our beautiful Black children in tears, trying to appeal to the dominant society to stop being what they have been for centuries. I would say that as a collective, the white supremacist society will never ever hear our tears. That's why it's senseless to send our children out there begging them to be humane. It will not happen. It cannot happen. It is not within them to do so. Secondarily, I would put a lot of this on the parents, because as you can see, they're hoping that these things change for next school year, which means what? They're going back to this environment. Did you think a news expose and a couple articles would change the very nature of those students and the parents who raised them? That, my friend, is an exercise in futility. It's utterly ridiculous. It's not going to happen. You are literally sending your child back into the lion's den. Once again, that's why I always focus on creating, funding, and maintaining our own institutions, starting with the educational system. Finally, let me touch on the vice principal, Mr. Luis Castro Quintanilla. If he is of the, as we've already determined, the fake black and brown coalition, why is this happening under your leadership as a part of the administration team? You are part of the admin, and according to the students, the administration does nothing to assist. As a vice principal, how come these students have not been expelled from the school to set a precedent that these types of behaviors will no longer be accepted? I think I know why. I think it's because you're just a buffer. You don't want to get involved, because we all know that the majority of Latinos classify themselves as white on the census. You don't believe me? Look up the data. 80% of Latinos classify themselves as white. So to refute these claims would be to refute yourself, and you would be saying, no, I don't believe this. I don't do it. And if you're the part of the administration and the administration is doing nothing, that means you're doing nothing, sir. So for you to tell us that if we partner, and quote, if we partner, we have more people looking at these difficult issues, we're going to get to a place, we're going to ensure we have an environment where students feel safe, valued, and heard. That is babble. That is lip service. And I fault the Black community for accepting this for so long from entities who are openly hostile against us. We need no longer accept their apologies. We need to step away and build our own. And if we're not going to build our own, we need to be hard in the paint with these individuals who exhibit such anti-Black racism. But I would say this to those parents: get your children out of that system. It's not going to work. Pay the extra $1. Start homeschool pods, something. I tell you, if it were me, it would not go down this way. And I'm an educator. I don't know what to say, people, except what I've always said. We need to get out of those systems. We need to create our own so that our children can be saved and we can be at the highest height in our community. Once again, this is Dr. Abdullah giving you educational news from a foundational Black American man's perspective. Please feel free to comment. What are your thoughts on Fort Vancouver High in Vancouver, Washington? We already know what's going on. We know what's going to continue. But tell me some of your horror stories. What have you witnessed? What have you seen? You are dismissed.
Yeah!